to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready. Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and Donovan, cause that's what's that? Oh, let's get ready.
Boom skis.
Word, we're out
We're
here.
live.
Salt of the Streets, live stream, pre-show, episode 113.
Hot
We're
dog.
out here. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
This is Salt of the Streets. This is the only show that is providing you factual information straight up while also trying to help you increase your liberty and freedom and everything all at the same time.
Yeah.
I thought about this on the way here. COVID brain, forgot everything I was going to say. So I had a whole thing. I was like, that's fucking perfect. I was like, that's slamming. Like, let's
Right.
go with that. And
Do it.
Mush mouth. So
Yeah, that's definitely a side effect of the the Rona brain is real,
super real.
and it's like unless you've had Rona brain, you don't know what Rona brain's really like. It's not that great.
Yeah.
Especially for people like us who try to do a lot of thinking.
I had my Bennick draft on Tuesday when I went back to work. Excuse me. And I would say I had the number one pick. So in the snake draft, right, I had the turnarounds. And so I would say both of my picks. And then on the way up there, would forget one of my picks and be like, who did I say that I was going to do? And like several times I had to have Brian tell me who I had just fucking picked. 10 steps.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
That's so
Fucking
terrible,
goddamn
man.
Yeah, so there's been a bit of that type of stuff. I definitely had to take more breaks this week, you know. I don't know that I could ever get anybody to understand. You could because you watched it happen. But anybody who hasn't seen it understand the amount of content that I consume on a regular basis. Like,
It's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot of shit. Like, I've come to the point that like a lot of the podcasts that I listen to is even at like plus like more than one speed.
Oh,
like, yeah.
You don't have enough time in the day then.
No, I'm banging out here.
Yeah, there you go.
So to have to slow down it's rough. You know? Yeah. So I've had to watch some episodes of some stuff, some things that I can like and not really pay attention to. And
time to just get a little chill factor in.
yes.
You know.
Yeah, so for anybody, again, thank everybody for joining us. For anybody who didn't see last week, I did have Corona. I had COVID, obviously, so that's why we weren't here.
The Ronas.
So, yeah, I'm in the Delta gang. We just talked about it, Delta Squadron. We're out here. And it was, I'm not going to Joe Rogan it. It wasn't terrible because nobody had to go to the hospital. Me and my wife and son, we all got sick. Dax, obviously, he's a little kid, so he had the easiest time of it. He had like 2 days where he was real sick.
Yeah.
And Jordan and I probably had 3 or 4 days where we were like really feeling like shit. But, you know, I missed 1 week of work, and that was it. There was a small outbreak at my work. Like, I think a quarter of the people total who work there.
Oh, yeah.
I think just over a quarter, actually, like maybe 12 or 15.
Super spreader event.
Yep, it finally. Well, and the weird thing, right? We made it 2 years.
Oh, yeah?
I think we had one person who had COVID before that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a completely separate deal.
Oh, yeah, because it was one of the outer
It
associated
was,
folks, right?
Well, we had one of the office ladies had COVID, but she like went on vacation and her boyfriend had it and then went on vacation and she got it while they were on vacation together.
Boo.
Yeah, so she had it before she even got back and like knew and everything. So she didn't even like come.
She's
to
like,
work
well, I'm back,
and,
but I'm not really back.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so there was like an outbreak at work. Like I said, it was not the Wednesday that just happened, but the one before that, like, my boss was there and everything, and then on Thursday he was gone, and I was starting to kind of feel like shit, but not feel like shit. I like felt kind of run down. I had a headache, which is very normal for me, so I did not consider it at all. I had like some sinus issues, so going to the weekend I thought maybe I had like a sinus infection or something, just because my face was so fucked up. And then we had the draft on Saturday, and I told everybody before, like, I feel like a little bit run down, but I'm fine. I did the whole draft and everything, so was fine. And then on Sunday, I started to really not feel good. And then on Sunday, I was like, well, I'm fucking sick. For sure. Or on Monday, I was like, I'm sick for sure. So, I missed that whole week. By Friday, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm good to go.
Yeah,
like, I had
just in recovery mode at that point.
Yeah, I had a cough that lingered for a couple of days, but that was pretty much it. I went to the gym yesterday, and everything. I even went to the gym before I knew I had COVID. I even went to the gym that Friday and did a rigorous 2-hour workout, like over 2 hours. So I got there early.
Oh yeah.
So a rigorous 2-hour workout in the early stages of COVID.
And you haven't
been a weird deal.
Like, you haven't been sleeping well recently, right? You've
I've
been cutting your hours
I only
way
sleep
short.
like maybe 5 hours a day.
Yeah, that's
so.
that can't help.
Oh, I'm sure.
You
And
know.
then like 2 weeks before that, I was sick. I had like that
Oh,
flu
yeah, yeah.
thing, for like a day and a half or whatever. I was super duper sick, and then was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that time I never even considered that I would have COVID. This time, until I found out that other people had COVID, I didn't really consider it as an option. I had talked about getting tested just to try and tell everybody I don't have COVID, but not because I thought I had it. Everybody at the draft who was going to be there. But it wasn't until Monday that I told my other boss that I wasn't coming in, and then one of the front office ladies was like, "Hey, do you have COVID? Like, a bunch of other people are gone." And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" She was like, "Oh, like 3 people have it for sure. Like 3 people are being tested, and 2 people just left." And I was like,
You're like,
"Oh shit!"
fuck.
It's like, we're out here, okay? Yeah. So it was pretty real. But yeah, I'm good now.
Good.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
It was a week ago or 2 weeks ago today that we had the draft.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago today that I was like, I don't know, guys. Like, I was kind of questionable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joe Rogan had it at the same time. I had a little bit of beef with Joe Rogan for a minute because...
Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that
Right.
because it was like, all the stories started coming out.
Yeah, so Joe Rogan had COVID, right? Obviously, this week, it's going to be a little bit of a grab bag type of show.
Yeah.
We're mostly going to talk about...
The last 48 hours.
Yeah, some COVID updates, right? Because there are some changes in policy and everything over the last couple of weeks, but we are going to talk
updates, right?
largely about the last 48 hours and things that have come down from the federal government and also from our state government, because the state press conference was fucking horrible.
Conveniently timed, too. It was like 5 minutes after Biden finished up.
Immediately
Inslee's
afterwards.
out there.
Yeah. And... So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, what is it, SB 8 in Texas? I think that it's SB 8, yeah, so which is the abortion bill, the heartbeat bill, whatever you want to call it, out of Texas. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to have,
SB 8.
obviously, this is outside of our normal schedule. So I would really like to, on the next episode if possible, bring in another woman to talk about abortion, maybe even Morgan, because we know that she's going to be on the left. And it's not, I told Jordan about this, or we were talking to Jordan about this last night. I was like, no matter who comes in, it's not going to be a debate because you and I are not hardline really either way, at least as far as I am concerned, not that I'm waiting to be convinced, but I think that it's a very open conversation. I think that there's a lot of very sketchy ground, that a lot of decisions are made on. So I think we're going to go through a lot of that today. A lot of the arguments either way, and break down that bill a little bit and talk about kind of abortion broadly. But I think that might be a good idea.
I think that would be a
Seeing
great
as we
idea,
can't
yeah.
have a baby, it would be nice to have a woman in here to talk about abortion.
Right.
But as far as today, I don't feel...
Dak's too old to talk about it now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be a great show today, but COVID, Joe Rogan had COVID. Yeah, so he had COVID like the same week that I did and posted a video and was like, so I have COVID, and as soon as I found out, I threw the kitchen sink at it and this and this and this and this and this. Obviously, he has millions of dollars, and then right after that, he's like, so I really only had like one bad day, and then continued on like it was, which is fine and obviously true. The beef that I had was that that makes it seem like, so it's not really a big deal.
Right.
When you throw $100,000 worth of medicines at it, no, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're a regular person, you could potentially die if you weren't taking care of yourself prior.
Was it a South Park episode about AIDS and HIV
Yes.
and Magic Johnson?
Yeah.
All you need is $100,000 liquid cash direct into the bloodstream, and you
Exactly.
too can be safe from this.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. I obviously don't have beef with it. He's a rich person. You have money. But yeah, I found I didn't conflate it, but it almost just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like one bad day. Like, it's not like that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. Well, most people are not Joe Rogan. Not even outside of the money, but in the way that they take care of themselves.
Yes.
That plays a huge factor in how well you're going to fare with this virus.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, Jordan spoke many times over our COVID week of being happy that she had just taken on that new diet of like a lot of seeds and nuts and shit,
You're
you
right.
know, and like really very natural things.
Super
like,
healthy.
Yeah, and Dax has been eating very much the same way. Of like the kid eats pretty much what Jordan eats, you know. So
You guys eat pretty healthy, man.
you know what I'm saying? Especially compared to like what it used to be. Like really don't hardly any processed foods anymore. I could count on one hand the amount of processed foods that it is. I can't give up French fries and a breakfast burrito.
It's
I
a little tough.
cannot give it up. But
It's all about those small little,
Yeah.
pleasures in life like that when it comes to food, especially. You need
Yeah.
a little something, something.
and that's over the COVID week. We ate like absolute fucking garbage because
Oh, yeah.
it was when you can't taste anything, it's whatever sounds like it might be appealing at that time. You
Yeah.
know, like that was part of my biggest deal was convincing myself to eat food, you know, and for someone
tough, man.
like myself who probably consumes close to 4,000 calories a day, like I'm pretty near constantly eating. And so to go from that to like maybe 1,200 calories a day, was getting like lightheaded and shit. And like, it was a whole deal. So
Yeah.
that was the time that I
not
was
cool,
having
man.
a hard time eating. I was having a hard time just existing in general.
Oh, yeah.
It
But
was dark.
that's one thing that's been new with different, I would say, with the Delta variant sicknesses and a lot of like normie people that just kind of get it, essentially have, a couple rough days or, 2 or 3 rough days where you just feel like total garbage and then you move on. But it's the headaches in Delta
Yes.
seem to be I didn't get a headache when I had the Alpha. I guess that's what we're calling it now, is the
Yeah.
Alpha. But when I had that, it was like body aches, debilitating body aches that
Right.
you could not escape, and
And
it
I
was
didn't
like
have-
torture.
And I didn't have hardly any of that.
And that's so nice to hear.
But I had a headache for 10 days straight. Like, absolutely 10 days straight. There wasn't a moment
Yeah.
where I didn't have a headache.
That's fucked. Because then you're going to bed like you've finally somehow get yourself to be able to pass out and be like, maybe when I wake up, it'll be gone.
Well, and like I said, for me, like, I have migraines and shit so often anyway that wasn't... I was really kind of able to ignore it. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't that big of a deal for me. The headache thing was not... Dan said how talked to me about the headaches. Like, the headaches were just terrible. I was like, you guys have no idea. Like, how do
Like,
you... Yeah.
y'all motherfuckers is
No.
just soft.
You have no idea. Yeah, the headaches that I have, some of the migraines that I have had have been absolutely debilitating.
Oh,
so
yeah.
to have just like a moderate headache for 10 days, I was like, it's kind of annoying, but it's not. No, my biggest deal is my sinuses. There was 2 days where to bend over would
just
physical
pressure.
pain in my face.
Oh, yeah.
To breathe out of my nose would burn. It was horrible. Yeah.
Oof.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
There
no
was
bueno.
I made a fucking terrible joke at the worst, at my deepest depths of COVID, when like I couldn't taste anything. All I wanted was mozzarella sticks. Like I was like, I really want mozzarella sticks. Like that's what sounds good. And
You guys have Uber Eats in Keyport?
I got a beef with Uber Eats, right? And I think that Jordan was trying to get me to not like eat out of the house yet because I still, I think just because I wasn't eating that much, she's like, I would like for you to eat something more healthy than that. But
Yeah.
like Aaron went to Costco for us and couldn't fucking find mozzarella sticks. And I was like, oh, well then we'll just get them on our grocery order, right?
Yep.
And so we picked groceries up on Friday and we got there and the guy's like, oh, did you see like the out of stock thing? And then we're like, no, we didn't get a notification for that. He was like, oh, there was only one item. He's like, it was the mozzarella sticks. And I was like, motherfucker. And then we went to go somewhere else and they didn't have them. There was something else. There was a third time that I was disappointed deeply, and I was sitting on the couch and I'm just brooding and upset, and she's like, what's going on? Like, what are you? And I said, this is it. I said, this is Mein Kampf. And she said, what? I said, this is my struggle. I said, this is it right here, is that I can't find something that I want to eat. Fucking burritos. I was like, I'll settle for burritos, right? So I'm browning up ground beef, and I go to open up the cabinet, and there's no refried beef. And I was like, fucking goddamn it. I was like, God fucking damn it. Yeah, so I just had to put that meat in a container. Yeah, and then I was sitting on the couch, and I was just so upset. This is Mein Kampf. Like, this is it right here, that I can't fucking find something to eat. It was horrible. It was it was terrible.
Oh, I
It
laugh because, like, I understand.
And it's so funny. Because this is horrible. You would say it's so funny because of the spirit of the Holocaust, but because the Holocaust was so terrible, it was so terrible, and I'm like, my struggle is that I can't find something that I want to eat.
Oh, it was so dramatic. Jordan says it was so dramatic. Oh, it is though. When your whole life is gray, you understand now. Like when I said everything is just gray.
Yes.
Like there's no, like colors go away in a way. Like you literally feel like you're in a black and white film at a certain point.
And we're big food people. That's that's a big way that we enjoy ourselves.
Dare I say foodies?
Yeah. So to not have that, it was fucked.
Oh,
it was dark. It was
dark.
It was dark. Jesus. Oh, it was horrible. Horrible joke.
In the literal sense, it was my struggle.
And that's why I thought it was so funny at the time. I said, this literally is my struggle. I said, that's what that book was called. I was so serious at the time. I knew it was funny, but I was so serious. It was
Jesus. Yeah. So while you were down, obviously trying to consume our usual content is kind of out of the question in most cases, because you don't need that additional crushing morosity of the world coming to an end.
Well, and it wasn't that. My biggest deal is that I'm home with a baby. Dads, right? And so like I can't just consume content all day like I normally would, Yeah. I cannot tell you how much fucking Cocomelon I watched over that week. It was torture. It was fucking torture.
You don't love the Cocomelon, do you?
Cocomelon is all songs. It's only music, right? And that's what I can't stand, is that it's only music, and there's songs that are just made to be educational, so they don't fucking rhyme. There's no structure to them. It's just words that are said in an odd cadence to make them fit the scheme of the song, which I just don't appreciate, And
oh boy,
shit just doesn't make sense, the whole thing just doesn't make sense. There's like animals cooking breakfast, and I don't like it. So
I don't like it.
But we watched a lot of Cocomelon.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought it was like a cartoon. It's like an animated, like a Toy Story-esque.
Yes.
1999 graphics.
It's not good too. That's the thing, is that like it's not a great. The animation's not great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of makes. Yep. You've seen the movie Death to Smoochie before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Robin Williams, Danny DeVito, the American History X guy. Fuck, what's his name? Edward Norton. Yeah, it's all about how corrupt and terrible the child's entertainment is.
Right.
It's still true to this day. All these things are thrown together by blood-sucking leeches of corporate, entertainment companies that do it for the cheapest ability possible.
And because of like the weird, conspiracy theories, like of the shit that I just carry around with me about like Hollywood and how fucked up it is, and just the nasty shit that happens there, I just don't trust like any children's content. No. I'm just always looking for the weird hidden message they're trying to ingrain in my kid, So I'm always telling Jordan, like, that's fucked up. Like why did they say that? Why did they say it like that? And she's like, you're fucking paranoid. Like, you stop. Like, that's not. They don't mean that. That's not what they're saying, I'm
like Donovan, this is not for you.
No, yeah, exactly.
I get it though, man. That stuff, it drives me crazy.
So I watched a lot of Cocomelon, and they don't watch TV until after breakfast, so I couldn't, like, there was one day where I was like, oh, we're going to watch dad shows until after breakfast, then we'll watch this, and it was a screaming match, and it was a whole,
Jordan's like, not in this fucking house. We don't put TV on until after breakfast.
She didn't care. It was Dax that he was not interested in not watching something that he wanted. TV's going to be on, and then he, like, just woke up, so he's not in any mood to be fucking, he didn't feel good, and
you guys, don't fuck with me. I'm watching Cocomelon.
It was a shit show, and now he says Coco, like he started saying that. So this morning when he got up, I'm trying to watch Joe Biden, and I'm like, bro, like, we're gonna watch Joe Biden. I set him up with some note cards and like the highlighters. Like, you're gonna help me take notes. Like, I need you to help me take notes on this. He was like, yeah. Start watching. He's Coco. I'm like, no.
Papa
can't.
Joe.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, Cocomelon's terrible. So, but that's the Senate, the Texas bill happened while I was gone.
Yeah.
Or while I was on COVID, and something else happened. The withdrawal of Afghanistan ended while I was home with COVID. So,
did you happen to
America's
hear about that
great and
drone strike that we did? It didn't work out so well.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I saw that just
I got
this
an
morning.
updated article from the Guardian on that one.
Yeah, I saw just this morning that the New York Times was reporting, like, oh shit, maybe there wasn't a bomb that we exploded. Maybe it was somebody putting water in the back of their truck.
Maybe.
On accident.
And all those kids that we murdered and the innocent guy that was helping over the horizon, baby.
Whoops. Yep.
Yeah.
Over the horizon.
Yeah. So it's not been a great couple weeks, basically.
It's been dark.
It's been a rough one for everybody involved, and including ourselves, obviously. Things have been rough the last couple weeks, but
you know what?
We're back to it. We're back on the train. We're rolling forward, and you got 1776.
I did finish a book. This is what I did over COVID. I finished this entire book.
That's healthy.
Yeah. So it was like just under 300 pages because the last chunk of this is all
like appendix type stuff.
Yeah. So it was good. I finished
That's
this
healthy.
over COVID. This was a great book. Yeah. This is really just about like the
slammed that
military campaign in America during 1776. The few months before, the few months afterwards.
The quotes, dude, you were sending me. Holy fucking patriotic hard on.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and so it was such a horrible other side of the coin to see, to like finish reading this and being like, fucking America, like George Washington is the tits, I love this country, and then like 4 days later they're like, our patience is growing thin with your freedom. I'm sorry, what the fuck just happened?
Excuse me now?
What? Like, this guy, the entire time he's leading the Congressional Army, he's like, I don't know that I'm even good enough to do this job. I don't even know that I don't know that I'm good enough, I don't know that I have the right to be doing what I'm doing. But I'm going to continue to do it because I think it's probably the right thing to do. Joe Biden's like, fuck you, freedom. You're going to do what I want you to do because I have the federal power to do so.
Yep, because I say so.
Yep.
Don't try to figure out the logic behind it, because as I'm sure we'll go when we go kind of through his speech, I guess, the other day, the address.
Yeah.
Contradicted himself multiple times.
Yeah.
Like sometimes back-to-back sentences. I mean, it was really, really bad. And then you compare that with these hard motherfuckers from 1776 era. Those people would just be appalled to see where we're at now.
Well, it was more than a handful of times in that one speech that Joe Biden said, because I have the federal authority, because I have the authority to do so. Because I have the power, I did this, So I moved from 1776. John Adams is the next one that I'm rolling with. This is another McCullough. Yeah. So David McCullough is my favorite historian.
Good books, man.
Yeah.
Really good books. The audiobooks are good, too. That Pioneers one is pretty good.
John Adams is such a small government dude, such a limited government dude. It's just dark. It's dark, man. And it concerns me the further we get from the founding, the less and less people have a comprehensive or even general understanding of that framing, what the intent was, what these people were trying to get away from, what their ideology was around freedom, around individual liberty. It's, and for people to be like, you need to be doing what the president is telling you what to do. Like, that's not how this is supposed to work.
Not even a little bit.
And it scares me because I don't know where that goes. Those two hardline competing ideologies. Like, I don't agree with you. I don't see myself being, not you individually, but like that ideology of strong central power. I don't agree with that. And I don't see that ever changing in myself. And so I don't know how you square that. Where does that go? Because if there's somebody else, and there obviously is hundreds of thousands of people on the other side, millions of people on the other side that feel just as strongly as I do about a strong and firm and large central government. How do you square that? Because I think that is going to destroy the country that you are living in, if that's what you want to do. you know, and I can't take part in that. Like, how do you square that? You know?
Yeah, I think because I've been, and I hate to give it to the trying to come up with a funny name for him, but the super hippie that's on Timcast IRL, Ian, he gets a lot of this. He has a lot of problems, like I think most people do, with the understanding of what your rights are, what they are, how it all works, this concept of negative rights versus positive rights. I think it's fairly safe to say that probably the vast majority of people in our country now, based off of all the reactions that we've seen over the last 20 months now, about like, well, you have the freedom to do this, you have the freedom to that, you know, you just don't have the freedom to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not how freedoms work. You're not given freedoms by the government. That is not how this works at all. The government says anything contradictory to your rights enumerated in the Constitution, that is wrong. But unfortunately, the way negative rights work is it is up to the individual on a societal level, even every single individual, to safeguard those rights that you should know that you have. And when somebody tries to step in, even if it's for good reasons, and says, well, no, you can't do that right now, it's like, you can't tell me that I can't do that right now. I don't need permission to exercise my rights. I need to exercise my rights because it's my right to do so.
Right.
You're waiting for the government to tell you you can do this or you can do that. They don't have the authority to tell you not. Period. Full stop. They can try to justify it in any way possible by throwing whatever alphabet soup agency is in charge of this. And, well, they make the rules for this. They make the rules for that. You got to follow these things. It's like, well, no, we don't. That's not how any of this works. You can throw me in jail for breaking one of your unconstitutional laws, and cops will and continue to do so to this day all over the globe too.
Right.
But especially in this country where they're actually enumerated in our Constitution. It's not up to the government to uphold your rights. They're supposed to safeguard them, mind you, but at this point it just seems like they just do the exact opposite. But it's up to the individual to uphold the sanctity of their own rights. But most people don't understand what they are or how to stand by those rights. How do you stand up to a government in New York that's closing down churches, directly contradictory to the First Amendment? How do you stop people's freedom of movement interstate by requiring, you know, we're not stopping you from traveling interstate. So, like, you know, some states just require you to have a negative test. So we're not saying you can't do this.
And that's right.
But that's, again, that is an infringement on your negative rights. You're now being told what you can do, not what you can't do. And that's a problem.
And just so everyone knows, you're not making that up, right?
No.
There's a clip, I should have pulled it, from CNN. They have their medical correspondent yesterday, the day before maybe.
She is such an idiot.
Talking about...
What's her name?
Yeah.
Amy?
Eileen or... you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Talking about how we need to do interstate travel. We need a passport for interstate travel. If you want to travel interstate, you need a vaccine. If you want to fly on an airplane interstate, you need to have a vaccine. If you want this, and this, you need to have a vaccine, and you don't have the choice. That's not how this is supposed to work. It's not how it does work. You know what I'm saying?
You sent me that clip, right?
Yeah.
Signal?
And I would think it was on Twitter.
Yep.
And one of the things that I think could potentially be the downfall of this, right? And we'll play this clip in the regular show. But yesterday, during the press conference, Jen Psaki was asked about, what are you going to do about religious exemptions for mega churches or religious companies that have over 100 employees? Like, what are you going to do about that, right? And her response is, oh, OSHA is still writing the rules.
Yeah.
That's not how
Leanna
this works.
Wen.
OSHA,
Dr. Leanna Wen.
Yes.
That's her name.
Yeah. So her response is, well, OSHA is still writing the rules.
Mm-hmm.
OSHA doesn't get to write rules that circumvent your freedom of religion. That's not how this works. That's,
not at all.
It's that is a founding principle. Your freedom of religion is a founding principle of this country.
Yep.
OSHA, as an executive, not a branch, executive, not
agency.
Company, agency. Thank you. All I can think of is company.
Code brain.
As an executive agency, does not in any way, shape, or form have the right to tell you where your religious freedom stops and starts, especially in regards to what you put into your body. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. It's like the fucking, I don't know, the cable commercial or whatever, where the old woman is trying to buy stuff and the other old woman is like, that's not how any of this works. It's not. It doesn't work this way. And I told you, I called you. I got so hot at work the other day that I fucking left because I was ranting, and I'm like, and this is, I could tell I was getting looks, when I'm talking about going places and vaccine passports. And I was like, so I'm getting so frustrated because as soon as you start talking about freedoms, it's like, oh, well, you want to go out to eat? It's not about the right to go out to eat. I don't have a right to go to a restaurant. I know that. I recognize that. I do not have a right to go out to eat. That's not how it works. That is not a right that I have as an individual to go out to a restaurant. I have the right to choose what I do with myself. That's what I'm talking about. I have the right to not get a vaccine when you can't answer the questions. Provide me with the information that I am requesting. You can't do it. You literally cannot. You don't have the information. You can't provide it to me. Someone tell me, right? Because they keep talking about, oh, we mandate vaccines for schools all the time. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not in fucking public school anymore. What other job is there in the private sector where regularly you are asked or mandated to have a vaccine? I've never had a job in the private sector where I was even asked if I was up to date on my vaccinations. So when did that start being a thing? Well, it's COVID now. So, you just
why not?
Mandate it because we did it in school.
Yep.
That's great. If I'm 50 fucking years old, there wasn't probably even vaccine mandates when I was in school. Now that I'm an adult, you are going to force my private sector company to mandate a vaccine when they don't have to mandate the MMR vaccine. They don't have to mandate that I have a polio vaccine or any of that other shit. Right? If they weren't doing it now, they certainly don't have to, or if they weren't doing it before, they don't have to do it now. The only one they have to mandate is COVID. If I have polio and if I have COVID, am I more likely to die or be seriously fucked up from polio or from COVID?
Well, it's not about you.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's
the problem. It's because it's not about your rights anymore. It's about how it's their stance is how an individual's choices in their life affect the collective.
Yeah, that's what James is saying. We're not going to allow you to infect our children.
Yep.
We're not going to allow you to infect our grandparents, because you're unvaccinated.
Which, again, I can't wait to get more into the main show because we got Bloomberg now on our side saying that I'm probably better off than so like there's different classifications now of individuals as far as antibody protection and whatnot. And I'm not top tier as it appears at this point.
I'm top tier. I'm fucking out here, baby.
I mean, but yeah.
I had that Delta shit last week.
You about fresh as you can get.
And I wasn't hospitalized, so I didn't have, I don't know, will you classify a full viral load? I don't know if that is it. I'm also relatively healthy, so I was able to fare well with it, I think,
Yeah.
I was definitely sick as balls. I was definitely sick as fuck. That's for sure.
Yeah. And there's a chance that if you had any underlying health issues, like it could have turned into a hospitalization case, but you take fairly decent care of your body and your family and your living situation, your entire health. You're a relatively healthy guy. You're young. You got a decent immune system already. Odds are you weren't going to be that bad anyways.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one because at this point you're starting to look at everybody's individual life and their life choices and how susceptible they are, and then you're trying to take that and then turn it on everyone else in the populace to say, well, you need to protect these people for the choices they're making with their lives.
Right.
Choosing to not get vaccinated still or do whatever they're going to do because it's their God-given right, for lack of a better term, to do whatever it is to make the choices with their own body that they want to do.
Right.
And I don't have... Yeah, we're going to get more into it once we get into the main show. I don't want to give the whole story away now, but
no, the last time
it's going to be
got into it, but
it's going to be things are going to get heated today.
The last thing that I wanted to make sure we brought up, Football is back, baby. And Oregon right now is playing in their second game. They won last week. They're playing Ohio State right now, which is actually a very big game. They're currently winning 35-28, 2 minutes 44 seconds left in the last quarter. I think that, and now they have the ball. 1st and 10, Oregon 35. I'm not going to say anything, but that's looking pretty good.
You know how much I care about Oregon State right now?
The thing about it is that
I want the Ducks to win for you, buddy.
I dream of a world in which the Pac-12 is respected nationally in the way that many of the big conferences are. And that's going to be a really hard line, but it starts with a few elite schools being really fucking good and being respected in that division before anything else can move on. And right now, Oregon's like the only school in Pac-12 that can hold their own against somebody else. So I'm happy to see it.
Are colleges being pretty affected by the various COVID mandates and stuff like that? Is colleges struggling a lot with maintaining teams and people on the bench and all that good stuff?
It's easier now. Last year, like, all the seasons were canceled.
Yeah.
I don't think the NCAA played at all last year.
It's like
football.
Yeah.
There were some
There's like exhibition games and stuff though, right?
Like basketball still happened and shit like that, but football I don't think happened. I think in the South actually did. It was depending on conference. Excuse me. So
no nationals going on.
No bowl games.
That was a bye
or anything
year.
Like that. Yeah. But it seems to be fine now, because most of the kids are going there for 4 years, so it was just 1 year off. Well, one thing, man, I can't believe we never talked about this, but we'll talk about it later. The Supreme Court case that ruled that NCAA athletes could make money off their likeness rights. I can't believe we never even talked about that. We've talked about it so many times before, and then it actually happened, and we never even addressed it.
Because it was like in the off year when everybody wasn't playing really.
But the Supreme Court ruled that NCAA athletes could earn money off of their own likeness rights. So now they can make all kinds of deals for shoes and fucking all kinds of shit and do whatever they want. I think that's a fucking great thing. I'm a huge fan of it.
Huge fan. That's super dope.
Yeah. The NCAA athletics is a multi-billion-dollar industry every single year. The idea that those young adults, because you're not a child when you're in college anymore, you're a young adult, right? Even if you might act like a child, you're a young adult.
A lot of people are legally adults.
Yeah, so the idea that young adults should not be profiting off of their skills at that time when they're going to then make potentially millions of dollars if they play professionally seems really fucking stupid to me.
Yeah, kind of like indentured servitude or something like that.
It's really weird.
It's
It's like
strange.
slavery with extra steps or something. Yeah,
slavery
it's not
with
good.
extra steps.
Yeah,
Again,
it's not good.
South Park did it. What was that?
That's
crack baby.
Yes.
Crack baby.
Yeah, crack baby basketball. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that was choice. So there was one thing. How are we doing on time? We got a little time.
Yeah.
One of the things that we watched during our off week, Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
We hammered out all 4 of the Hunger Games movies.
You did. You finished them. Okay.
All 4 of them, man.
Excellent.
And we even did. It must have been. I think it was the Monday before we went back to work. It was like on Labor Day. We hammered out both the Mockingjay ones because that's part 1 and part 2, back to back. Just hammered it out. I cannot believe how. First of all, it's been so long since I saw any of them, and I just don't remember it being that good.
Yeah.
And it might be due to the fact of the current state of the nation. Like, oh man, yeah, it was. I got goosebumps a lot. There were some tears that were coming down, and some of these really, man, that's some good shit. Turned my mom onto it. I gave her my Amazon thing so she can watch them. Had to make sure instead of trying to go around and find someplace to stream. I was like, after the first one, no, this is a good enough fucking movie. I just need to buy all these.
That's
add them to my library. They're so good.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna do the audiobooks because I just want to know. The books are always at least a step above, and with as good as those movies were, I want to dive into those books.
Well, and I think that we're, as far as your goosebumps and stuff, I think that we're just at that period of time where
I'm tired of being oppressed. Is what it is.
And
I'm tired of having my liberty stripped out from underneath me every single day.
Yeah.
And that kind of revolutionary tale of
media like that is gonna incite that in you. Yeah.
So good.
I think that's one of the reasons I'm identifying so much with media about the founding right now. You know, that's what I'm really interested in reading right now. Books about the founding, books about the founders. Not only because I want to have just an insane grasp on what this country is supposed to be about, so that I know, so I can have a better and firmer understanding on how I want to proceed, you know, but also because it's inspirational, you know, like we talked, like you were talking, I was sending you quotes and stuff like that. I was like, it's just hard for me to fathom that people existed like that and could live that hardy of an ideology, and that's it. It's hard line, you know.
And there's so many different aspects of it, especially once you start diving deep into like the Revolutionary War period.
Right.
So many things had to happen the exact way they happened for that to be successful.
Yeah.
There is, like, the odds were greatly on the side of us still being a British protectorate at this point, because if they weren't tied up in multiple places, if we didn't have help from the French, if it wasn't a 3-month journey away from the tyrannical king, I don't know if it would have gone that way.
Right.
Like, there was a lot of things that had to happen the right way for that to happen.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying to think, like, even if we had the same stock of individuals that they had back then, I don't know if that'd be enough. But that would be something, I think, maybe one day in the future, we all dive into things like that. We dive into all the literature and get some background and just go heavy one day on the history.
No, and I think, because like I told you, even this book, you know, is a series of, I think, like 5 failures on the military battlefield, and then one final victory in the end of 1776 in New Jersey. Like that's it. You know, it's a series of failures, and they're like, okay, if we don't win, like we're fucked.
We're
you
dead.
know, like it's done after this if we don't win, and it just happens to turn out that way. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a fate type of deal. You know,
it's like that scene in Band of Brothers in one of the early episodes when they're dealing with Captain Sobel, who's just this great training officer, all this stuff. He's a hardcore military dude, but he's just bad tactically out in the field. You know, get everybody killed, and all the NCOs get together, and they're like
Ross from Friends. David
yes.
Schwimmer, yeah.
Who, great in that role too. But they all get together and talk about it. It's like, all right, guys, like this is wartime. If we do this and we kind of push back against this guy and say he's going to kill us all, we could be turned against a wall and shot.
Yeah.
These are people that were like, I'm not, I either die here or I get, you know, killed along with tons of other people out in the field because this reject is leading me. I don't think we have those people anymore.
Yeah.
We might, but I think those people are made. I don't think they're made by the times. And so we may not have those people yet. But we might.
At least they haven't presented themselves in that way, you know, because it's certainly some of those people exist, but whether or not they know that they are those people, whether or not they know that they have that in them, you know, we've seen people start to, you know, we'll get into this more in detail, but people start to leave their jobs, people being willing to walk away from things.
Lots, man.
Once I know a bunch of people who work in the shipyard, you know, when that mandate came down, there was a lot of people that are like, fuck you, I'm not doing it. And not because they think it's a conspiracy or they're fucking idiots or any of that shit, because they don't want to be told what to do. Because that's not how this is supposed to go. That's not how being an adult in America is supposed to exist, being a citizen in America. The government telling you what you can and can't do, what job you can and can't have, depending on what injection you will or will not get. You know, that's not how any of this is supposed to go.
And it's like, I think we need to find a different way to phrase it than like, well, that's not what I want to do. It's not what we want to do. It's like, because ultimately, it's your choice to make that decision. But fundamentally, what you're talking about is you're refusing to cede your liberty just because government authority tells you to.
Yeah,
it's like, no, I'm going to continue to work and to do my job and to make a living and provide for my family. You can't tell me I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's really what all these people are doing, man. And as we get closer to October, I know some, like the federal ones and all that, are kicking off early, but there's so many more that are kicking in October 13th or 18th or something like that. But, you know, and now we've had unions starting to step up and fight against that, which, again, I can't wait to talk about that more.
Bigger companies, Ben Shapiro's company.
This is a great preview pre-show.
Yeah.
Because we're just diving a little bit. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
We're going to get deep today. That's why
Yeah.
we're only really doing 2 topics, you know,
Yeah.
because we want to have the freedom to discuss those things. It's when we're talking about COVID and especially these news conferences and stuff, it's going to get pretty deep into even abortion. I think is going to be a lot of talk about personal freedoms, personal liberties, and things like that.
Because it's the same argument, I
yeah.
think, that we probably are holding.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, we've talked about abortion before. We've had Haley in before, about other people before. We've talked extensively about it. You know, neither of us are hardcore in either camp. You know, we're very much, for one reason or another, kind of right in the middle line of like, well, people should be able to do what they want. Also, this is maybe not the best idea, but you know, we both, I think, have a really hard time telling people what to do. You know, obviously, as this conversation, telling anybody what they have to do with themselves, what they can't do with themselves, it's a very difficult conversation. But I think it's going to be a great conversation. We're going to be able to discuss a lot of very difficult things, and I think hopefully sort some things out for ourselves. Help you guys sort some things out, because these are difficult conversations to have when you don't have someone providing a good faith argument on the other side. It's difficult to have that discussion and figure out how you feel, you know?
Yeah.
I have a couple of clips from Steven Crowder so we can see some bad faith arguments and kind of tear those up a little bit, because there's some dog shit out there on both sides, obviously. But also to help prove to everybody that we're not conservative shills, we're going to take some conservatives and shit on them real quick, because that's a terrible idea what he has, and it's going to be a good time. So,
with that,
let
me ask you one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Just a real short answer.
Yes.
Have you watched any Breaking Points recently?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I want to talk about Breaking Points later.
I have a clip from them, actually.
Perfecto.
Yeah.
Because they're finally back in full on in studio again. That was, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah.
I had to shut the episode off. I was just not interested.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get into that. So, I guess we'll see everybody on the other side.
Yes. With that, I want to thank everybody. Obviously, you're watching this on our YouTube, Salt on the Streets. You probably didn't get a notification. We have a video about that, because that's some shit that's going on. So we have that. Obviously, thank you watching us live YouTube pre-show. We have our Facebook. Fuck Facebook at Salt on the Streets. Instagram. Fuck Instagram. We have our individual social medias. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin's a Big Bird Offie on both those things. You can find all this on saltofthestreets.com. If you need a skateboard, go down to Location Skate Shop in Bremerton. If you need a haircut, hit up Swell Blended. The guy's killing it right now. He's booked out pretty far. Make sure that you get in those books if you need a haircut. I mean, you can see what I have going here. So
at this point, I'm just relying on the relationship to be like, yo, Paul, can you squeeze me in at some point tonight, or what do you got going on?
I decided I'm gonna set up an appointment and then text him and be like, if you get a cancellation, just hit me up first so that I can just run in to get a haircut.
Yeah, I'll be there.
This shit is savage right now. With that, go Ducks. They just beat Ohio State. I'm fairly certain. It says there's 13 seconds left on the clock. I think that's some horseshit. Refreshing right now. The Seahawks play the Colts tomorrow, week 1.
Oh, yeah.
17 weeks this year, or 18 weeks, 17 games this year. It's going to be a great time. League of $840 was cracking off hard. I had 3 of the drafts.
That's Sleeper App, dude. Sleeper App's money.
Sleeper App is
huge
slick.
fan.
Yeah.
I just go on there and fuck around sometimes.
It's nice.
It's more, I don't want to say approachable, but it's more user friendly. There's more features. It's a lot more fun to just be in the app, play with things, look at people. I mean, it's a good time. It's a really good time.
With that, I want to thank everybody, and we will see you in just a few minutes for the regular show.